Hello, I want to thank everyone for tuning in today to our Coaching Through COVID series. Today we have Vanessa, the Director of the Office of Disability Services, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her program and what they're doing right now through COVID, and also about some of the resources that they offer your student. So Vanessa, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, and should I share my screen? Okay.
You should be able to share now.
All right. Oh, wrong one. Hold on. Stop share. I got to switch. It should be this one. Let's see if I can go back. Okay, good. You see the primary slide now, right? Okay. My name is Vanessa Gopel, and I'm here to talk a little bit about how parents can best support students with disabilities in the college transition process. There are some updates to this presentation in the case that you found it elsewhere to address any changes that may have happened relating to COVID-19. So the Office of Disability Services, or we are commonly called ODS, provides academic accommodations to University of Alabama students. We're located in Hauser Hall, room 1000. Our office hours are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. until 4:45 p.m. Our services and resources are offered free of charge to students, and you may contact our front desk by calling 205-348-4285 or emailing ods@ua.edu. We also have lots of information available on our website, and we are absolutely in tune to keeping that updated at www.ods.ua.edu. So, the Americans with Disabilities Act defines disability as a physical or mental impairment, which substantially limits one or more major life activities. ODS can offer accommodation for a variety of disabilities, including cognitive disorders such as ADHD, learning disorders, and traumatic brain injury, psychological disorders such as anxiety, depression, and autism spectrum disorders, sensory or mobility impairments, and any medical condition that may be impacting the student academically. We also do sometimes, we're contacted relating to temporary impairments that are maybe the result of an injury or a surgery for which students may require accommodations. Accommodations are determined on a case-by-case basis according to the impact of the student's condition. So some commonly requested accommodations include testing accommodations such as extended test time, reduced distraction environments, use of technology for assistance with reading and writing during exams. We have a ODS testing center that is available as a convenient location to support students and instructors with those testing accommodations. We also sometimes offer note-taking assistance through the audio recording of lectures, use of the smart pen, or other lecture capture technology. We provide communication access real-time transcription or CART services. We provide closed caption videos and sign language interpreting for students who are deaf or hard of hearing. We also provide accessible materials such as alternate format textbooks or document conversion. We have staff on hand who can provide support for the use of screen readers, smart pens, and other technology applications that are available to students, such as use of UA Box, Text Help, Zoom Text, and some others. We also provide priority registration for students to allow them to register for classes early in order to account for any disability-related course scheduling needs.
Vanessa, can I ask you one quick question?
Yeah.
So you talked about note-taking assistance, and I know right now a lot of classes are virtual. Are these accommodations still available to students that are maybe Zooming in their classrooms?
The answer is that it varies, but yes, in the case that it would be synchronous learning, so live like this is, where you and I are interacting, then those services would still be available. If it were an asynchronous course, for instance, where the course was recorded and the student had access to go back and forth and listen to it in their own time, some accommodations may be changed. So the accommodation process, I think, is important for parents to understand as well as students. We offer opportunities for students and families to virtually visit or ask us questions. Once your student has been accepted to the university and has committed to attend, at that point it is appropriate to begin the process of officially requesting accommodations. We recommend that you share our documentation requirements, which are available on our website, with your student's evaluator or treating physician. Documentation should be submitted corresponding to each diagnosis for which a student requests accommodations. Documentation will be reviewed by the accommodations specialist, and the student will be notified if additional documentation is needed. Any documentation received by ODS will be acknowledged via email to the student's MyBama account. So once a student has received this acknowledgement, they should call our reception desk to schedule an appointment with an accommodations specialist so that they can together discuss the impact of their disability and any accommodations that they wish to request. The accommodations specialist will review relevant policies and procedures, the student's rights and their responsibilities, and the process for requesting accommodations each semester. Now, keep in mind that appointments are scheduled on a first-come, first-served basis, and staff calendars do fill up quickly at the beginning of each new semester. So it's absolutely recommended that students schedule appointments well in advance of the first day of classes. For instance, we've usually told students who are starting UA in the fall that they should call as early as the month of June or July to schedule an appointment to be sure that they get in a timely manner. It is the student's responsibility to electronically request accommodations each semester and to meet with instructors virtually or in person during the instructor's office hours or by appointment to discuss how each accommodation will be implemented in the course. If students have questions or concerns at any point during the process, they are told or suggested that they contact their accommodations specialist for assistance. So during the COVID-19 pandemic, many colleges and universities have made changes to the format of courses in order to better allow for social distancing and reduce the virus spread. At UA, there have been increased offerings of online and hybrid courses. These altered course formats may lead to additional benefit for students with disability-related academic accommodations. The increase in online courses positively impacts students that have a disability that could affect attendance because students may then attend online courses from home. And in the case of an asynchronous online course, they can attend the course virtually at a time of their convenience. Whether courses are online or face-to-face, it has become more common for instructors to proctor exams virtually in order to reduce the number of students congregated together in one space. This may be of benefit to students with accommodations relating to extended test time and those who require reduced distraction test environments. When proctored virtually, providing extended test time is very simple for faculty to do, and students are empowered to control their own test environment to best meet their needs. Both virtual and face-to-face courses have seen an increase in faculty using lecture capture programs to provide lecture recordings to students. For students that struggle to maintain attention or keep pace with course information, having access to recorded lectures is the best way to ensure that they have equal access to information communicated by the instructor. So ODS treats all student information as confidential. So a student's diagnosis or approval for accommodations is never shared with others on campus, nor will this information appear on the student's transcript or diploma. Students are responsible for self-disclosing accommodations to faculty, and they do so in the electronic notification letter. It's always the student's decision to share information regarding their accommodations. Legally, faculty do not have a right to know information regarding a student's diagnosis. So while students are given the opportunity to sign a FERPA release applying to their educational record with the university, any information related to a student's disability or their accommodations is held separately from the educational record, and therefore the university's FERPA release does not apply to ODS. Students who wish to give permission for ODS to communicate with parents may do so through the ODS online portal. It is important for parents to understand that students are considered to be adults once they enter the post-secondary environment, and therefore the onus for requesting and arranging accommodations and communicating with ODS rests solely with the student. Even if students consent for ODS to communicate with parents, it is required that students communicate directly with ODS rather than abdicating this responsibility to parents or family members. So while ODS assists students with academic accommodations, we do recognize that there are a variety of other needs or interests that a student may have during their time at UA. So I wanted to discuss some of those here. Students who need to request housing accommodations, such as an accessible residence hall or a single room due to medical needs, should contact housing and residential communities to discuss their options. Students who have food allergies or other dietary needs should contact the Dining Services Coordinator for Bama Dining. Students who have questions about purchasing an accessible parking permit or transportation assistance offered through the Crimson Ride should contact Parking Services. And questions relating to scholarships for students with disability or financial aid can be directed to Student Financial Aid. You may also wish to contact your state's vocational rehabilitation program through the Department of Rehabilitation Services. ODS does not provide products or services of a personal nature, such as mobility devices, technology hardware or software, tutoring, or personal aids. Also, our staff does not conduct learning or diagnostic evaluations or assessments. However, there are several campus resources which may be helpful to students, and so we've included those on this slide for your reference. Examples include academic resources such as the Center for Academic Success and the Writing Center. Other services include the Student Health Center and Pharmacy, as well as the Counseling Center. Again, an alternate version of this presentation could be made available if you'd like to request it, and it also could have live links. Academic advising is an additional resource available to all students. ODS is unable to provide guidance regarding course or instructor choice. So the academic advisor in the department of the student's major serves as the resource for these types of questions. Students will meet with an academic advisor during Bama Bound orientation, and they must schedule an appointment with their advisor each semester in order to register for courses and be advised. So there are several things that parents and family members can do to help students transition to the college setting. Parents can improve the likelihood for student success in college by discussing and determining reasonable expectations. There are many differences in the material, the pace, and the level of independence once students graduate from high school and leave the parents' home. In high school, classes tend to be concurrent and in close proximity to one another. Classes are often small, with a low student-to-teacher ratio. Classes tend to be more interactive. Graded material is offered more frequently, and it tends to be non-cumulative. Conversely, college courses meet less, usually 2 to 3 times a week, so the outside of classwork is more extensive. Class sizes are much larger at the University of Alabama, sometimes as large as 300 students per lecture course. Classes are often lecture-based, which may be a struggle for certain learning styles. There may be fewer tests and grades, which means the individual stakes are higher for any single assignment. During the transition from high school to college, it's also valuable for parents and students to understand the rights and responsibilities outlined in post-secondary disability law. In high school or in the secondary setting, the intent of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA, is to provide a free, appropriate public education to students with disabilities in the least restrictive environment. Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act also applies to ensure program access for individuals with disabilities. The school district is responsible for identifying, evaluating, and planning educational services for the student, and they are also responsible for providing special instruction, individualized education plans or IEPs, and accommodations. Because students are entitled to receive a public education, the application of the law focuses on the student's success. In a post-secondary setting, Section 504 continues to apply with regard to program accessibility for students with disabilities, but IDEA no longer applies. Instead, the ADA requires that students have a documented disability and be otherwise qualified for admission and participation in the program. Students must self-identify as an individual with a disability and initiate a request for accommodation. The application of the law in the post-secondary setting focuses on equal access for students rather than success. A successful college student is someone who knows how to manage their most critical resource, time. Here are some helpful tips that parents can share with their student. Number one, make a to-do list. Put the most important tasks at the top, even if they're things you're dreading, and tackle them first. Include things you want to do on your list too, so you have items you're looking forward to doing. Try motivating yourself with a reward if you get to everything on your list. Number two, keep your work with you. That way, if you find yourself with extra time, you can get something done. 3, don't be afraid to say no. It's okay to say no if your friend asks you to go to the movie one night, but you have a test the next day. 4, find your productive time. Are you a morning person or a night person? You'll be more efficient if you work when you're at your best. 5, create a dedicated study time. Set up a time devoted only to studying or homework. Shut off your phone and respond to calls or texts when your work is finished. Don't check email or surf the web during this time either, unless it's necessary for the work you're doing. 6, get a good night's sleep. Your brain needs rest to perform at its peak. If it's time to sleep, list the things you still need to get done on the next day's to-do list and go to bed. In some cases, students benefit from a more supportive approach to time management and organizational skills, such as academic coaching or similar services. While ODS does not provide academic coaching, there are UA and community resources available for that. Thanks for joining me for this presentation. If you have questions about the information I presented, please don't hesitate to contact us by phone or email. Also check out our website. We update it as often as new information becomes available. We look forward to working with your student during their time at the University of Alabama.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. You actually did not leave me any questions that I have. Normally I have some follow-up questions, but I think you covered pretty much everything. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. As Vanessa said, if there are any additional questions, you can email us at parents@ua.edu, or you can also reach out to the email that was provided to Vanessa, that Vanessa provided in the presentation. So again, thank you so much, and roll Tide.